All right, AFC North is next. We mentioned maybe the most difficult division in the NFL. You could easily make a case that the Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and Browns are not only all doing good things, but coming from being good football teams overall, right? And improving, have good quarterback situations. The Steelers, the wild card, because we don't know exactly what they're going to get. Well, both, the Steelers and Browns, wild cards. Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson, what are you going to get from both of those guys? But it's also easy here on Labor Day to predict good seasons for all four teams. But something's got to give in the AFC North.
Yeah, no, it does. And I'm going to contradict myself a little bit from the last division. I think the most likely outcome of this, what I think is probably the toughest division to call, the most likely outcome is the Bengals winning because they've got the track record. They're the team we saw last year, the year before. They're the most likely team to still be really good and still win that division. But I think this one is really close. And as you say, like every year there are teams that change the dynamic. And if you're guessing which one of those teams is going to come, not out of nowhere, but is going to surprise, I think I'm starting to buy into the Steelers thing. Like, I think Kenny Pickett looks really good. And I think Kenny Pickett looked very good last year, like so much better than his numbers. Their offense, I mean, it's preseason, like who the hell knows? Their first team offense this preseason has basically been flawless. It's just marched down the field and scored and sat down on the bench again. Their defense should be good. TJ Watt being back transforms that unit. Even when he's not there now, if he misses time with injuries, which is a risk again, now they've stumbled into a Nick Herbig who can, obviously can't replace TJ Watt, but he can help, mitigate the drop-off from TJ Watt when he's not in the lineup, particularly from that side of the line. I think the Steelers could shock people and win that division.
Yeah, we got to remind people, we spend the whole offseason and speak in definitives. The Bengals last year at this time were coming off a Super Bowl. They looked like a much better team than the Steelers. Joe Burrow in week 1 throws 4 interceptions, not all his fault, but throws 4 picks against the Steelers. The Steelers win in overtime with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. So we're 1 week away, by the way, Sam. 1 week from now, not at this time, we'll be wrapping up a 2.5-hour Week 1 overreaction podcast next week at this very time. We'll be wrapping it up, and we'll be overreacting. Maybe this team we thought was good all offseason's not as good as we thought. Maybe this team we forgot about is going to the Super Bowl.
Overreaction week.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Next week at this time.
Did we decide week 1 we were going to do, was that our Sunday night test?
Oh, maybe. Or maybe it's going to be, yeah, that's true. We might. I'd love to hear what people want to do here. We might go live after Sunday Night Football. What's the Sunday night game this week?
God, no.
What are we doing?
What is it?
Dallas and the Giants. Okay. Cowboys, Giants.
I've got to do an NBC video on that later.
Oh, yeah. You should do that. On Labor Day.
You should probably be aware of what it is.
Can't wait to get this off day back. So maybe we'll go live right after Cowboys, Giants for our Week 1 full review podcast. Might experiment with that a little bit. But we're talking AFC North. So in this Steelers analysis that you're bringing to the table here, what does that mean? Does that mean you're not picking the chalk pick, the Bengals?
Yeah, it means in this,
Are you making a bold take for Pittsburgh?
So when I'm doing these divisions, right, I tend to work on the basis of, generally speaking, I am going to pick the most likely thing as determined in my head to the outcome, right? So the most likely outcome is the Buffalo Bills win that division, even though I could see probably 3 out of the 4 teams winning that and not be surprised. I think the most likely outcome is the Bengals win the AFC North, but I'm going to pick a couple where I just have a gut feeling that the most likely outcome is not the one that's actually going to happen, because the most likely outcome is not going to happen for every division. So for this division, even though I think the most likely thing to happen is the Bengals win it, I am picking the Steelers to win it.
This isn't even the bold take show.
No, I know.
You're legitimately
it's not that bold, right? Pittsburgh winning that division?
No, it's not. I mean, if they were in the NFC South, it wouldn't be bold. I mean, how are they going to surpass those other teams? It's going to be a challenge. I'm looking forward to it. Because I'm with you. I'm with you on the positivity for the Steelers. When I had Brad on the show, you were on vacation last week, and Brad was on the show. He's like, perfect offseason for Pittsburgh. Might be some hyperbole there, but He loved, from start to finish, we both agree. We love everything Pittsburgh's doing. But I can also see a world where if Deshaun Watson is just better than last year, the Browns are really tough to beat. And the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, they've won, 68, 70% of their games with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. If he stays healthy, they're going to be better than the Ravens?
Yeah.
And I think I'm picking the Bengals to win the AFC North. I thought last year we were talking regression a little bit with Cincinnati. They impressed me so much. I think Zach Taylor deserves credit. The Bengals are the team in the AFC North. Now, I'm not saying by a wide margin because, again, it's loaded. It's going to be a challenge. But what Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, what those guys have done, what they did down the stretch last year against a lot of good teams. They beat every good team in the NFL during the regular season, and then they were, a late hit away from overtime with the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I think the Bengals have showed enough in a 2-year stretch. They're the team to beat in the AFC North, and I'm going to stick with them until somebody knocks them off. Mm-hmm. But again, I could see a world where any of the 4 teams make a run for the division. That includes the Browns, the Ravens, or the Steelers. I could see that happening, and we'll talk more when we get to wild card time. But I'll take the Bengals to win the AFC North.
I wouldn't argue strongly against anybody that made a case for any of the 4 teams in this division. Like, this would be one where, if somebody's coming back with a email bet, hey, you said the Steelers, no, not a chance, because any of the 4 teams could win this division very easily without much happening whatsoever. So
this is your pick, but it's not bettable.
Yes. I just have a gut feeling that Pittsburgh will be the team to surprise and win this division.